Remember that movie Hot Tub Time Machine? Yeah, well, I'm gonna try to create my own here for a second. If I went back to exactly 1 year ago today, you would see that I bought this. A 2002 Chevrolet Corvette C5 Z06. My affordable dream car, that is. It was far from perfect, very far actually, and I've spent the last year turning it into the coolest C5 Corvette to ever exist. Introducing the C5 Orange. Almost exactly 1 year ago, I paid $16,500 for this 60,000 mile, one owner clean title C5 Corvette Z06. I spent the last year rebuilding it into what I call the C5R Edition. And today I'm going to walk through the entire build that I have done on this car, turning it into the coolest C5 Corvette on the road. If you were to tell me I could go back to 1 year ago and I could spend $28,000 to have a pro-charged, low mileage, clean title, perfectly sorted out C5 Corvette, well, I'd be shooting myself in the foot right now, and I would honestly like to be, because after calculating everything, I have over $33,000 invested into the C5 Corvette that is behind me right now. Dad, please don't kick me out of your house just yet. I'm sorry, I am saving. If you are new to the channel, my name is Austin and welcome to Performance on Wheels. If you'd be willing to help support the channel, please hit like, hit subscribe. Lots of cool content is coming soon, and there's lots of previous stuff as well, so check out my channel. What we have here and what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be walking you through how exactly I have managed to spend over $33,000 on my C5 Corvette. I'm going to go from the first day over 1 year ago where we started, and I'm going to walk you through the entire list that I can scroll on and on about how I have managed to spend pretty much double what I bought the car for in that period of time. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and go through how I managed to stuff so much cash into this 20-year-old Corvette. It does pile up in a hurry. I had no idea it piled up this high until I managed to take my calculator out and add everything up, and then I just about started bawling in tears because I'm looking for a house right now, and the things I would do to go back to 1 year ago and take this money and put into a down payment on a house, I would do a lot for that. All right, so I bought this car 1 year ago. Like I said, I did transmission fluid. Transmission fluid costed me 40 bucks. Rear differential fluid costed me 50 bucks. Oil costed me $80. Every single time I've done an oil change, it's been about 80 bucks. It does take 530 Mobil 1, and I used a Mobil 1 oil filter as well. I then needed to do brakes all around. I did power stop performance brakes. That way we emit zero brake dust. Super helpful, especially on these black wheels, which we're gonna get into shortly. If I even see one of you comment down below about my exhaust hanging down, I swear I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm going to do something to hurt myself. I've fixed that 3 times now. This car hates me. This exhaust, I swear, I don't know how many times I have welded, put new bolts in, tried to figure out a different stupid solution to keep my exhaust tip from sagging down. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's not annoying at all when you're driving. Not at all. I then needed to go ahead and just do some general maintenance on the car. I had no idea if anything's ever been done. Honestly, it probably hasn't. So I went ahead and I put a new accessory belt and a serpentine belt on the car. That cost me $55. I did new spark plugs, NGK TR55 plugs, because I knew if I got the car tuned at some point, those are a really tunable plug, very common on the LS platform. Those cost me 100 bucks. It did have some play in the front end, ended up being the wheel bearings, 227 for both front wheel bearings. When I bought the car, it had a hole in the door, a hole in the fender, a hole on the headlight cover, so it had a lot of damage on it. I was trying to look for quite a while to find a replacement factory black fender to go on my driver's side rear fender. Now, the coupe and the convertible have the same fender, and the base Corvette, the most common Corvette, has a different rear fender. Look at that, would ya? So, trying to find a factory fender, I was finding fenders shipped to my house. If they were local, they would have been a little bit cheaper, but it's a big part. It's a big old chunk of fiberglass. Shipped to my house, fenders, $500. $500 for a stupid fiberglass fender. Wish I would have looked into that before I bought it, right? That would have been 17 grand into the Corvette right there. Oh, and I didn't even think to look into doors. Corvette doors are cheap, right? Those are mass produced. We'll get into that in a minute. So I managed to find these off Marketplace. New, this is a $2,000. This is a $2,000. Huh? Carbon fiber wide body kit. I took quite the trip and I drove to Davenport, Iowa, and on the way I picked up some wheels. Now what we have here are C7 R Edition wheels off of a C7 Corvette. Very, very rare C7 actually, so they're a pretty uncommon set of wheels. I managed to snag these for $1,400. That is right, to order these new from GM, near $5,000 set of wheels. I managed to snag them for $1,400, brand spanking new. The guy that had them on his car, one of the wheels cracked. He got a warranty claim, 4 new wheels. Before the wheels showed up, he bought a new set. So he had this brand new set sitting in his garage. And I managed to snag that for $1,400. And I got the carbon fiber wide body kit for $700. Insane deals. If you would have told me before I bought the used carbon fiber wide body that it would have taken me 10 hours of labor to do the passenger side and 13 hours of labor to do the driver's side, I'd go right on back in time and not buy the carbon fiber wide body. That was one of the most miserable experiences that I've ever had in my life to install. The amount of trimming, cutting, trying to make it fit was terrible. Absolutely terrible experience that I never, ever, ever want to experience again. It sucked. The alignment still is not great. I'm not super happy with the fitment, but it's a really, really good looking car from about 5 feet away. With new wheels, had to come new tires. And my goodness, are C7 tires not cheap, because they are, I think, the second or third largest factory production tire in the rear. I think the Bugatti Chiron and the Dodge Viper are right in front of it. Comment down below if I'm wrong. But there's a 335 on the back of this thing. And my goodness, the cheapest 335s, believe it or not, they're not cheap. And then we also have a 285 up front, 20s in back, 19s in front. And those were $1,400 for the absolute cheapest set of tires I can find. If I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't buy these. They've done me well, but I've taken this car on the track now and I've autocrossed it quite a bit. And I've gone through a set of tires in a year. Rip the wallet. Now that we're back from that, we're gonna go through what I did next to that. I needed new TPMS sensors. Actually, I didn't. I paid for them though, because I found out the Z06 doesn't have TPMS sensors to save weight. Oh, that was a waste of $65. That sucked. I put a Stubby antenna on it. The stupid long one that kept going up was just insanely old to me. That was 20 bucks. Now we get into the fun stuff. I had to rebuild the entire underside of the front end of this car because it had so much damage on it. The thing was mangled as can be. It's like the dude drove up on every curb he could possibly find and then just decided to keep driving up onto that same curb and not stop, not hit the brakes, just kept on driving up the curb, bending stuff and mangling stuff as much as he possibly could. I bought a new radiator support, but when I first bought the car, I thought it was going to be the most expensive part, but I found one on eBay for much, much, much cheaper. So that made me feel pretty good. It was only 90 bucks. And then with that, or with the carbon wide body, I put those LED side markers on it. They look really good. They were $45. Then the biggest mod that I get the most compliments on, that everybody loves in the Corvette community, the Night Drive TV Sleepy Eye Headlight Kit, can be yours today for, I paid $452. My goodness, it was worth it. It's a lot of money, but I can see at night the amount of compliments I get, the look and presence that it gives this car is second to none. By far the biggest visual appearance mod you can do to a C5 Corvette. These things are insane. Absolutely love this guy, and I believe the guy who owns it, his name is Damien. Super, super nice guy. Great to work with. Very happy with his service. I highly recommend those. I then did the VMS lowering kit, front and rear, just some bolts front and rear. Super simple. That was 65 bucks. I had to do a rear spacer on the tire just to make the fitment right. That was 65 bucks. I went ahead and I did different lug nuts to make them fit with the C7 wheels. Those costed me $40. I did an LED F1 style third brake light. I actually really like the way it looks. Check this thing out. It like flashes like an F1 car. It gets a lot of people's attention because the car's so low, so you don't have to worry about being rear-ended. And then with that, obviously I had to do the super cool Vette light tails. I absolutely love the way those look. Transformed and make everything. Updating all the lights on this thing made this car feel and look so much more modern, and it gave it an amazing presence going down the road. Third brake light cost me 47 bucks. The Vette lights were $335. Well worth it. Very happy with them. Now, I also needed to work on this car on a 2-post lift, and the C5s need these little pucks that screw into kind of the frame, and that's how you lift the car up. I bought those online. So glad that I have them. Very necessary if you do any DIY stuff on Corvettes. I just leave them in my glove box, and those were 15 bucks. I then absolutely hated the factory seats. They were super worn out. Not a big fan. I'm gonna get higher end seats later on, but I went ahead and put these Amazon racing seats in my car in preparation for a long road trip. They're much more comfortable than the factory seats. They hold you in a little bit better. They're still a little bit flimsy and would not do you well in a crash. So if this is just a fun around town car, I do highly recommend it. I think they're better than the stock C5 seats, and they're a lot lighter. I saved quite a bit of weight putting those in. Those are $385 for the seats, $75 for the seat brackets, $12 for the seat hardware. And then I tried to buff the whole car. That cost me about 150 bucks. Totally failed. That didn't go out super well. I then got the front running light housings. I got blacked out housings. Those costed me $60. And then to put new LED bulbs in there costed me 15 bucks. Then we get to the big one, my driver door. Now my driver door, it was in great shape when I originally bought it. And then during shipping, they dropped it. They dropped it during shipping. It's got 2 marks on it. Makes me extremely mad, especially because I didn't get a very big discount. I believe I paid $700 for the door, and they gave me a $200 discount, and it's going to cost me way more than $200 to fix the damage, but that ultimately fixed the big hole in the door. It does look a lot better, but I really wish that I could figure out how to get all this buffed out. I'm not a master detailer. If somebody is, please come fix my car at my house for free. I love you. I appreciate you. I will heart your comment if you say yes. Then I got some yellow inlays that you guys saw. The inlays up front, the inlays in back, and those definitely made it pop, and they made the wheels pop and the seats pop. Big fan of those. I'm happy that I did them. 18 bucks for those things. Then I sold my factory seats for $600. I sold my factory wheels for $600. I sold my factory taillights for $45, and I sold the good rear quarter panel for $100. Totaling in at the end of the first summer at $22,110. Not bad, right? I was really happy with my purchase. It was a pretty sweet looking car. And then the next year came about and I just kept on going. My bad, I guess I just, in my notes, decided to total up a few months. This wasn't next year yet. We're still in the same year. We're not into 2024. This is still 2023, me modifying the car. So here we go. I put new plug wires in it. That was $135. I did the MGW short throw shifter. My goodness, does that change the entire driving experience of this car. So worth it. Makes it feel so much more engaging behind the wheel. That was $486. My car started overheating. Little did I know it wasn't my water pump, but I put one in anyway. That was 160 bucks. All the new coolant was $100. Then I found a set of Cook's long tube headers and high flow cats that popped up for sale on eBay. Why does good deals have to keep popping up when you're trying to save money? Gosh, I hate getting good deals. So annoying. $1,070 costing me to get those. I had to put $33 manifold gaskets in it. I got ARP header bolts for 35 bucks. And then I also was having this super loud squeal whenever I was under full throttle. So I really quick tore the entire front end of the car apart so I could put an ATI super damper in it for $469 just to find out that that is not what was causing the squeal. Whoops. But at least I don't have to worry about the common harmonic balancer wobble, which is very common on the C5 Corvette, especially with age because they kind of have like a rubber insert in there and they wear out over time. Then I did the ARP stud kit, which is basically the bolt that went into the crank. That was 30 bucks. The crankshaft oil seal, thermostat, and I did upgraded power steering rack bushings. All that together was about $120. We're done with 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 2024. 2024 started off with a very sad start. I was having this mental issue where I was basically having this problem where I would do these day-to-day tasks and I was having trouble getting sleep, I was having trouble showering, brushing my teeth, literally anything around my house. I was struggling with this mental disorder of I need a massive, absolute hog of a cam disorder. Don't comment on my terrible headlight fitment. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So after trying to solve this issue of me needing to be Sir Lopes-a-lot, I accidentally slipped my finger and managed to order the full BTR Stage 3 cam kit with the full titanium supporting mods in the valve train. That costed me $1,173.53. It's a very exciting day. It's a very exciting day here, ladies and gentlemen. All of the new parts for my Z06 have arrived. Goal for this build is an estimated 80 to 100 horsepower increase than what I'm expecting here on the Z06. So around 500 crank horsepower, hoping for about 420 to 440 wheel horsepower is what I'm hoping to get out of my 02 Z06 by doing all of this stuff that is in front of me here. So let me run you through what I bought exactly. I got some Michigan Motorsports. I have no idea how to pronounce this, by the way. They're Turion. I have no idea, not a clue. Rocker arms that basically get rid of the factory rocker arms because they are needle bearings from the factory. Actually, I called BTR and talked to them about this. They told me not to worry about it and I shouldn't have to upgrade them because they're not really prone to fail. But I don't know, I just read too many people that had an issue with them failing and I was slightly nervous about it because the stock needle bearings, if there is an issue with them, they explode and all the needle bearings go out the entire motor, and I don't want metal running through the inside of my motor because that sounds like a $10,000 mistake that I could easily fix for 200 bucks. So I didn't listen to BTR and I'm upgrading them anyway. Now from BTR, the remainder of the parts, we have their upgraded titanium valve springs. We have all of the titanium equipment to go with the valve springs, the valve train components here. We have the milling high performance oil pump. Since I got to take the oil pump out, doesn't make sense not to do it. Well, actually, you don't have to take the oil pump out, but you're literally right there. It makes no sense not to. This is not from BTR, but I got an Add W1 oil catch can that is specifically made for the C5 Corvette. I ended up breaking one of the PCV valves while I was uninstalling everything or taking everything off because it was old plastic and just snapped in two. So got myself a nice oil catch can. I bought a really cheap oil catch can in the past and I found it was like disintegrating and that was getting back into my motor, which is terrible. So I decided I'm not buying a cheap catch can again. So I didn't go all out. There's like $400 ones, which is insane to me, but I spent 160 bucks and I got myself a nice catch can from Add W1 here. And then what we did for the camshaft, ladies and gentlemen, the big horsepower maker, the choppy boy, you might say. That's the goal. We have ourselves the BTR Brian Tooley Racing Stage 3 camshaft for LS1, LS2 engines, which of course is basically the same thing as the LS6. So this is a fairly aggressive cam. I was very heavily debating between buying what I have in my hands here, the BTR Stage 3 and the BTR Stage 4 camshaft. And I was all for the Stage 4. I was leaning towards it, but the guys over on the Facebook forums, you know what they do, they talk you out of it. So the reason that I ended up not doing the stage 4 is based on what I was reading, people below 3,000 to 3,500 RPM are losing a small amount of horsepower and torque over stock. So I would have been losing a bit of power off of the line with the stage 4. I also would have been taking away from the drivability around town, which I was totally fine with. That just sounded awesome to me. But for the sacrifices of losing down low for a minimal gain over the stage 3 up high, it just wasn't worth it to me. The stage 3 was a power increase down low and a big power increase up high. The stage 4 was a power decrease down low, but a big power increase up high. And the BTR just stage 3 just sounds like an overall better cam for me because I'm gonna be driving it around town a little bit more. It is still gonna take away from some of the drivability I've read, but that's totally fine because it's gonna sound like sweet, sweet, sweet heavenly American chops. Forgot to bring up the other basic stuff. I got 7 quarts of oil. Obviously there's a few more than 7 quarts here. I got it for leftovers. And I got myself 4 gallons of Dexcool coolant and then BTR with that cam kit. All of the seals and everything are included. So it's already in this box here. I didn't want to take them out because I have no reason to try to risk them. But it even comes with the GM genuine parts, new bolt for the harmonic balancer. By the way, I would upgrade your harmonic balancer right now if you're doing this. It's a common failure on the C5. However, I already upgraded that last year because it was an issue on mine. I have the ATI super damper in it, so highly suggest recommending that. BTR also gave me a new timing chain, so got myself a timing chain, new camshaft retainer plate, and then of course I've got the water pump gaskets, timing cover gasket. I have the gasket for the crank, and then just got all new bolts or equipment as well to go with it. So BTR fully loads you, and it comes with everything that you need to put this thing back together. Just makes it very slick, and I have lots of confidence from that. I also got one more thing that I forgot to mention. Oil filters, of course, but I also took my intake manifold off. So I'm gonna clean out my intake manifold. I took it off to bleed my clutch. So now I can clean out my manifold and put some new gaskets on the manifold. And then one day I was scrolling on Marketplace. Oh no, not another good deal. Are you kidding me? Stupid Marketplace. Ruining my chances to ever own a home or be a homeowner. That app has ruined the entire 20-year-old population society. And what you will see that I found on Marketplace is right in front of me here. It is this full carbon hood. This is a $1,700 VMS, I believe it's VMS, I'll put it up on the screen if it's not, racing full carbon exposed carbon hood. It is gorgeous. It looks amazing. It does have a little bit of wear down on the edges, but that's because I paid $300 for this. I paid 300 bucks for a full carbon hood. Are you kidding me? Now it matches my fenders. Obviously, I couldn't have my nasty ratted out headlight covers to match my carbon hood, so I had to get carbon headlight covers too. Those are 300 bucks. $600 into this whole front end right here. It's just a heck of a deal, right? Just throwing money away. Not a big deal. Then I, of course, did that stage 3 cam. I was a little bit worried about all the oil getting into the manifold after I spent all this time taking it apart, cleaning it up. So I put a catch can on it. That cost me $165.99. Then I put a K&N air filter in it. Obviously, I'm doing a big old cam. I got to suck up all them ponies. That cost me 90 bucks. That is an absurd amount of money for an air filter. I'm sorry, but it was a lot cheaper than a $400 cold air intake. Then I figured out, by the way, that overheating problem I was having last year, not the water pump, but I took a power washer and just started spraying the absolute living crap out of my radiator, bent every single fin in it. However, it stopped overheating. It was just really dirty. So I put a new radiator in it. That was $270. Put that big old honking cam in there. Obviously, she needs to start chopping. Sir chops a lot. Needed to get it tuned. That was $784 to get the engine calibrated. It is going to be going on the dyno here soon. I'm going to have a full video on that. Kind of excited about that. It was street tuned. It's going to get the top end reworked a little bit and the timing touched up on the dyno. So lots of fun videos are coming on this car. I just wanted to talk about how I managed to put 33 grand into a C5 in 2024. And this is how I did it, as you're obviously seeing here. And then I did another oil change. It was 60 bucks. I had to do all the coolant again. That was 100 bucks. And then, oh, this just put the cherry right on top. I will admit it could have been far worse. However, the reason all of this cam stuff even started, I was having a big issue, if you guys watched my video from last year, with my clutch engaging. It would randomly engage whenever it wanted to. It sucked to drive. It was miserable. It was not an enjoyable clutch to play around with. So I tried bleeding it, and that's how this whole thing started. I took the manifold off, trying to reach on the back to bleed the manifold. And after throwing a wrench a few times, I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to go drop the car off to get tuned, and then I'm going to put it up in the air, and I'm going to take everything apart, and I'm going to bleed the clutch. Well, turns out I wasn't going to do that because the slave cylinder blew up while they were tuning it. That was great. So my car, being an hour away from me, now needs a clutch. I'm supposed to leave in 3-4 weeks to drive this car across the country. I need to jack this car up, drop the rear end out, take the torque tube out on my garage floor. It wasn't going to happen. I needed to be realistic with myself. As cool as it wanted to be for me to say that I built this entire car, well, turns out, guys, guess what? It's bought, not built, because I paid somebody to put a clutch in it, unfortunately. I told the guy, his name's Dave Rasmussen. If you guys are in the Minnesota area, highly recommend going to him. He tuned my car as well. DRSC Automotive. I will put a link down in the description below to his shop. But he put a clutch in it for me. McLeod twin disc clutch is what I got put in there. Or McLeod, sorry if I said that wrong. I think it's McLeod twin disc clutch. The reason that I went with that is because in the future, in case I want to get more power, that clutch can handle it, and it should never be needing to be replaced again. And with that, I got a Tick Performance slave cylinder installed with a nice little bleeder that comes right up to here, so I can bleed my clutch whenever I need, which should be quite often. It should be a general maintenance item on the C5. It's very convenient, the spot that they put the bleeder tube in the factory clutch, to make it quite a simple process for you to go ahead and bleed it. Literally, GM engineers, you did such a good job building this car. What is that? What was that? Whatever. I don't even want to say how much money that was. It sucked. It sucked a lot. His labor rate was actually really good. $3,377.60. It costed me $3,377.60 to get a clutch put in it and a new slave, and then another $800 on top of that, and then the $600, and then it never ends. $32,320 is the exact dollar amount I currently am in to this C5 Corvette Z06. I could have a really crappy C6 Z06 right now. I could also probably have a really clean Pro Charge fully built C5 Z06 right now. I just have one that tells me to pull the key and wait 10 seconds every time I put it in. But hey, it drives great. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the video today here on Performance on Wheels. Let me know what you guys think of my C5R edition that I built from the ground up. No, I didn't. It's bought, not built. I didn't put a clutch in it. Let me know what you guys think of this thing. It was an absolute journey bringing it to where it is now. Oh, I forgot one thing. I forgot one thing that includes that price. I bought a full new set. Oh, they're slightly used, of C7 Z06 track tire takeoffs. I forgot what they are. I think they're like Continental Super Sport, something like that. I got those for $600. So I did forget to include that. I have a full second set of tires for $600. That is included in that price. Oh, and I paid $200 for window tint. I forgot to bring that up as well. But yeah, every single dime that I have invested in this car, $32,200 something. If I could go back in time, 100% I would do it again. This car is amazing. It turns so many heads. It makes so many people happy. It gets so much attention. It irritates me every now and then. Ultimately, it is now bulletproof, reliable, and I could not be happier with that. But yeah, I just talked for a really long time. I'm going to drive this thing really hard this summer, and I'm going to make a lot of videos in the process of doing so. So be sure to hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this journey. And yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate all of your support, because without you, I would not be able to do stuff like this.